That's exactly what I'm saying, because I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their intention, and they're not as talented, and we're not putting the best.
I truly can't understand what goes through the minds of some WNBA analysts, or how ESPN justifies putting them on air to represent the league. Recently, Molly Karam, a prominent ESPN host, sparked major controversy with her comments about Caitlin Clark, one of the WNBA's brightest rising stars. Her remarks, made during a live broadcast, didn't just offend, they ignited a national conversation about how female athletes, especially in the WNBA, are portrayed and scrutinized by the media. Karam suggested that players like Clark, despite generating huge viewership and fan engagement, are essentially a mockery of women's basketball. According to her, Clark's popularity was more a product of marketing hype than actual basketball talent. This statement struck a nerve. Fans, fellow analysts, and players alike were quick to push back, calling Karam's take both unfair and misinformed. In a league where athletes are constantly fighting for respect and visibility, minimizing the accomplishments of someone like Caitlin Clark felt like a serious step backward. The backlash highlighted a deeper issue: the persistent bias in sports commentary, particularly when it comes to covering women's sports. It raised an urgent question: how can the media—
All I gotta say is she's lucky this UConn team isn't healthy. And that's a true statement.
That's wrong, Molly.
Monica?
That's wrong, Molly. Molly,
like
it's excuses.
5 top players,
it's excuses,
am I right?
Molly. It's
Major injuries.
You would not be saying that if it wasn't UConn.
Major stars not playing.
Listen, excuse me, it's her against Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A.
Ain't no excuses.
Stephen
you
A.
got there.
No,
don't want to hear that now.
Stephen A.
Let me tell you, if Georgetown get back in the mix, I'm going to be insufferable. I'm just telling you that now.
What?
If Paige Beckerson basically missed 2 seasons, I don't know if we'd be talking about Caitlin Clark the way we are now.
Caitlin Clark first gained national attention during her college basketball career, where her performances were nothing short of extraordinary. She quickly became a household name, not just for her prolific scoring, but for her exceptional basketball IQ, playmaking ability, and leadership on the court. As a standout at the University of Iowa, Clark consistently led her team to victories, shattered records, and captivated audiences with her deep three-pointers, clutch performances, and creative assists. Her electrifying presence drew comparisons to some of the greatest players in women's basketball history, and her transition to the WNBA was highly anticipated. However, despite her collegiate accolades and the excitement surrounding her professional debut, Clark encountered skepticism from certain corners of the sports media. One of the most polarizing moments came from ESPN host Molly Karam, whose remarks about Clark sparked significant backlash and reignited discussions about how women's sports and women athletes are treated in the media. During a live broadcast, Karam suggested that players like Caitlin Clark were not truly enhancing the quality of the WNBA but were instead drawing attention for superficial reasons. She implied that Clark's growing fan base and media presence were more a product of marketability than athletic merit. In fact, Karam went as far as to characterize Clark's presence in the league as a mockery of the women's game, dismissing her skills, achievements, and impact on the sport. These comments struck a nerve. Not only did they seem unfair, but they also ignored the immense effort, discipline, and performance that Clark has consistently demonstrated. While public criticism from a high-profile media figure could have been disheartening, especially for a young athlete, Clark responded with grace and poise. She didn't engage in the noise. Instead, she let her game do the talking, continuing to break records, lead her team, and play with a calm confidence that has become her signature. Karam's remarks weren't just a personal attack, they highlighted a broader, more troubling trend: the tendency of some media voices to minimize or undermine the accomplishments of female athletes, even in the face of undeniable success. One of her central claims, that Clark was bringing attention to the WNBA without meaningfully contributing to the level of play, was not only misleading, but tone-deaf. It overlooked the fact that Clark's visibility is precisely what the league needs. Her on-court excellence combined with her off-court appeal has brought unprecedented viewership and fan engagement to the WNBA, for a league that has long struggled to receive the recognition it deserves, not because of a lack of talent, but due to systemic biases and limited media exposure. Players like Caitlin Clark represent progress. Her ability to draw in new fans, boost ratings, and elevate the conversation around women's basketball should be celebrated, not criticized. In professional sports, growth is driven by both performance and visibility. Clark offers both. Another controversial point Karam made was her support for Clark's exclusion from the U.S. Olympic roster. Despite Clark's impressive resume and her clear potential, she was not selected to represent Team USA. While the decision itself sparked debate among fans, Karam endorsed it, expressing satisfaction that Clark had been left off the team. Still, in true Caitlin Clark fashion, she responded with humility and perspective. She acknowledged the difficulty of making the Olympic roster and expressed her intention to continue improving with the goal of competing in 2028. Her composure, self-awareness, and unwavering focus only reinforce what makes her such a respected figure in the sport. In the end, Caitlin Clark's story isn't just about talent, it's about resilience, class, and leadership in the face of criticism. And as she continues to defy expectations, she also challenges the outdated narratives that still exist in the coverage of women's sports.
I think I'm excited for the girls that are on the team. I know it's the most competitive team in the world, and I know it could have gone either way of me being on the team, me not being on the team. So, I'm excited for them. I'm going to be rooting them on to win gold. I was a kid that grew up watching the Olympics, so it'll be fun to watch them.
What was your level of disappointment not hearing your name on the roster?
Honestly, no disappointment. I think it just gives you something to work for. That's a dream. Hopefully one day I can be there, and I think it's just a little more motivation. You remember that, and hopefully in 4 years, when 4 years comes back around, I can be there.